the street.
Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, we got our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson in the house here for some information and some potentially speculation about your favorite football team, the Minnesota Vikings. Well, I think everyone is still just trying to come down from that game on Sunday. The biggest in terms of like pregame spread, the biggest upset in the Kevin O'Connell going on the road era. Was that even a bigger spread than 2022 at Buffalo? What was that spread if we go back? I thought that was like, that must have been close. Maybe it was like 6.5 or 7 when they went in.
It was. I don't remember the Buffalo spread. All I know is it was the biggest spread in terms of overcoming it and winning since Joe Webb against the Philadelphia Eagles. Was that 2010?
That was a 2010 Tuesday night late season in Philadelphia. The terrible snowstorm that hit Philadelphia. I believe by the end of that huge snowstorm that suspended the game on Sunday or delayed it. I mean, I think at the end they had 7 inches of snow in Philadelphia.
Wow,
maybe 6.
What a time to be alive. So we're going to get into, we'll react at Doogie's reaction to that game here. Shout out to Park Dental to start this episode. If you're smiling a lot these last 48 hours as a Vikings fan, you want to make sure you've got your teeth properly cared for and clean. That's why I go to Park Dental. I found Park Dental thanks to some coworkers and some mutual connections, and now we get to talk about them on this podcast here. There's likely a location within just minutes of wherever you live or work with convenient hours. Many practices open at 7 a.m., and most are open until at least 8 p.m. One night a week. So if you're looking for just a different or better dentist, if you were like me and your dentist retired and you're like, oh, I'm a dentist free agent, go to parkdental.com to schedule your appointment. Parkdental.com. Dukes, I'm just going to ask you a broad question. What were your thoughts on the Vikings win and JJ McCarthy? Ups and downs, and it's not going to be a perfect 3 hours for him in his third start, but man, he stepped up in some of the biggest, the third downs, the red zones. Just your thoughts on how that game transfers forward now for the Vikings.
I loved it, Phil. As somebody who's been bullish on JJ McCarthy, it was really fun to see. To me, the most impressive win under KOC. Yes, I was at US Bank Stadium December of 22, the largest comeback in NFL history, beating the Colts, but the Vikings were technically favored that day to win that game. When you consider a 5-game losing streak against Detroit that KOC had never led at Ford Field, when you consider what that Lions offense has done to that Brian Flores defense going back the last couple years, incredibly impressed. And I still think there's a ceiling they can still hit. I still think the defense can tackle better. As good a day as the defense had, I still think there's another level. JJ McCarthy, the throw to Jalen Naylor to seal it, even on the first drive, just picking things up. The quick hitter to Aaron Jones. I'm not sure Carson Wentz makes that play. Then the 2 touchdown passes, the athleticism to beat Anzalone to the corner on the touchdown run. Yes. Did he miss a handful of throws on the run? He did. But overall, start number 3 for JJ McCarthy. To me, I mean, I can't quite go A+. I understand that, but A-, B+. I think I'm higher on the start than a lot of people.
Grading on expectation for sure. Like that was an impressive, that, you know, we've talked about this. The box score was not great, but who cares? The eye test was really, really good.
Well, and he should have had another 30-something yards. Like, tell me the rule on Aaron Jones.
It's made up.
Like, how was that technically a run, not a pass? So not suggesting that 174, 175 looks a ton better.
Yeah.
But still, to me, it should have been 170-something, not 143.
But the more I think about this game, you guys, the more I mentally digest it as really the defense. Like McCarthy played well. The offense did what it certainly had to do. That's an impressive win. But you don't get that win without that defensive performance. So let's talk about this, Dukes. How much of this is based on what was easily Brian Flores' best game plan of the season? Like, these guys couldn't stop the run against some good guys and some scrubbinis. And now Detroit, which loves to pound you, can't run. how much is the return of Andrew Van Ginkel? How much is the clearly now healthy return of Blake Cashman, who probably took some time to get back? Like, I'm trying to sort of sort out here how much of this is a result of what Brian Flores could do because of the guys that he had back, and how much is also just a result of somebody went into the planning stages and came out with a game plan against Detroit that looks like if opposing teams can replicate it now going forward, and not everybody can, but some probably can, that this is definitely a blueprint to throw the Lions off.
Yeah, I mean, combination. I mean, certainly just these guys having their manhood, their professional manhood challenged in meeting rooms last week, right? Their ability to play the game. But yeah, certainly schematically, certainly Andrew Van Ginkel. I mean, I don't know. This may be a better question for an Alex Boone or Searles or somebody who's been in the trenches. But like, to me, subtly, Van Ginkel helping Cashman. Like, all I know is, okay, week 1, Van Ginkel, Cashman on the field with Grenard. They win. Okay, those guys on the field together Sunday in Detroit, they win. That Cashman can do so much more with the presence of Van Ginkel. How about Javon Hargrave? I mean, I think he absolutely was challenged. I mean, I tried to have a conversation with him in the locker room the other day. He's like, ask the coaches. But deep down, you could read between the lines that he was hearing a lot of chatter about, hey, you're done. You're cooked. You haven't shown anything since that week 1 game in Chicago. Javon Hargrave was enormous. Jalen Redmond continues to impress. Played a lot of snaps. But just having Van Ginkel back, yes, absolutely a difference maker. But being able to keep Gibbs in there, not having Gibbs be a weapon in the pass game, and it's not like Gibbs had a good day blocking. I mean, I thought Brian Flores, right? I mean, we can continue the chatter now about, hey, Cincinnati could use Brian Flores, right? If they make a change at the head coaching position, Zach Taylor out, Brian Flores in. I think, that chatter cooled for a few weeks. We can now reignite that chatter that the Cincinnati Bengals would be very smart to hire Brian Flores if they make a change come January. So, yeah, all-encompassing, Judd, but I'll tell you what, yeah, I mean, I know he only played, 36 or 37 snaps, Van Ginkel, and he only had, the one tackle for a loss where he fell down. He actually fell down, but the ball went to Gibbs on a quick pass, and Van Ginkel was able to make the tackle. But otherwise, you look at it and you say, okay, like the one solo tackle, some combined tackles, you look at the box score, you're like, yeah, Van Ginkel, whatever. But I just think what he allowed not only Cashman, but Eric Wilson to do, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to, and I'm in the early stages of combing through some of the film, mostly not as much because I'm an expert at knowing what I'm looking at, but for the Trenches episode with Boone. And we're going to go mostly offense on that, but I'm kind of going through just for fun both sides. And I'll tell you, just combing through a little bit, and also when you look back at some of the data on defense, so Van Ginkel out there for the 39 snaps, 12 of those were run.
Okay, thank you.
They were run plays on 12 of them, so 27 pass rush snaps. They dropped him back into coverage on half of those. And Jonathan Grenard dropped back into coverage on a third of the dropbacks. He was out there for 62 snaps. What that tells me is those guys are out on the edge. But the problem for the Lions offensive line is when those guys are known game-wrecking edge rushers, when the ball is snapped, you don't know that they're dropping back into coverage. And by the way, when people complain about why would you drop your edge rushers back into coverage, Sunday was a prime example of how you can trick an offensive line. So those guys off the edge, Van Ginkel and Grenard, you have to account for them, either with your tackle or if they're lined up maybe on the inside in the B gap with your guard. So you've got offensive linemen that when the ball is snapped, their first second and a half is to account for two guys that are dropping back into coverage because you have to respect them. What's happening in the middle then the entire game? While those offensive linemen are occupied on the outside, Eric Wilson and Blake Cashman are blitzing 20 times, 18 times over the course of a 3-hour game. So it was brilliant in a lot of ways to use your known edge rushers as decoys for half of those pass plays, while Eric Wilson and Blake Cashman and your Jalen Redmonds and Javon Hargraves feasted on the interior offensive line. It was brilliant.
It was. I was also mildly surprised that Fabian Moreau, cornerback number 3, elevated from the practice squad, was he even targeted? Like, to me, if I see Moreau out on the field, schematically, if you're Detroit, if you're Johnny Morton, if you're Dan Campbell, don't you need to recognize that? Take some chances against that Vikings number 3 corner?
Yeah.
And hey, maybe that was the idea at times, and the Vikings blew it up. That's why, to me, I still wonder about the cornerback position as we head into 3 o'clock Central today, the trade deadline. I mean, I don't sense right here at 9:15 a.m. Central as we discuss this that anything is imminent, but certainly calls being made, doing their due diligence. Jeff Okudah, okay, a little bit of a concussion history now. Can't rush him back. Plus, what sort of ceiling are we talking about?
Don't need to rush
Jeff
him back.
Okudah. Yeah, so
Fabian Moreau is fine. He's
yes.
good. Yeah.
you could
Targeted
use
once,
another
by the way.
corner, right? You could absolutely use another corner,
Well-
something we discussed preseason.
You going there? You
Are
going there, Phil?
Why don't you go there?
You go there. I want you to go there.
Reckless speculation.
The Purple Daily Anonymous tip line doesn't miss very often, Dukes. And I saw yesterday that Asante Samuel Jr. was cleared. He's gone through like over a year's worth of specialists. It was like shoulder. It was like a stinger that wouldn't go away, basically, for him.
I saw
right?
his spine mentioned though now too. Like this was way worse than we thought in March. Like I thought it was like, oh, he'll be set for training camp, and clearly it was no, he'll be set for about week 10. But yeah, it sounds like teams are starting to contact him. I gotta wonder if the Vikings at least make that phone call.
Well, here's what I can tell you. Call it reckless speculation, whatever you want to term it. So the Vikings reached out some time ago to inquire. I was told as of late last week, now I've tried to follow up. I haven't received anything, but as of late last week, there was nothing. Now, his representation reached out to the Vikings, reached out to every team, sending them the information that Asante has been medically cleared. Yes, the national steam on Monday was that Asante is ready to take some visits. And yeah, logically, we could make a case for the Vikings at least bringing him to Egan, doing their own homework on him, but it didn't sound like as of Friday that things were progressing in that direction. But it's still on my list of things to accomplish. Can I get a little bit further on the update front on that? You know, whether it's later today, even tomorrow,
Sure.
or Thursday. But as of late last week, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of Viking steam there.
Absolutely. So to go back on what we were just talking about before defensively too, what Phil brought up, I think on Sunday too, you got to give the Vikings a lot of credit because, you know, when you talk about what the game plan was and how well it worked and that you can drop your rush edges into coverage, I also think that is where the marriage of personnel and scheme becomes so important. If you guys recall, in 2022, as good as he was, or in 2023, Daniil Hunter was not a fit really for a 3-4. And so they tried this. They tried to drop him back, and it doesn't work. Like you have to have like Van Ginkel, Grenard. These guys have the pedigree to do that. But that's a difficult thing. Like it's not just like, well, I mean, come on, man, you're a defensive end. Drop back into coverage. I don't know if you guys recall watching poor Jared Allen drop back into coverage at times and how little interest the Hall of Famer had in even doing it. So
Yeah.
I do think like this is the chess game, and this is where personnel becomes so important. You need to have the right chess pieces. Now, my question off of the entire game plan and what the defensive line did, and I loved it, is this: Jonathan Allen and Hargrave. Can they keep this up? And Dukes, I agree with you. When in the post-game locker room, when KO was handing out game balls, he said, and it was just sort of an aside, but it was clearly said, he said something along the lines of, we challenged, or these two guys were challenged. Like, I think Hargrave's response to you was not, the outside world's crapping on me. I think they got a talking to, or come on, we signed you guys to do this. I think Hargrave had a great game based on what happened in the building, not based on the outside world saying, what the hell is going on with Hargrave.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think any outside noise was
Yeah.
going to motivate him. As far as I can tell, he's not Isaiah Rodgers when it comes to social media, that he's all over the place, right? I mean, He may scroll, who knows, but yeah, certainly from an internal standpoint, absolutely challenged. Now, you can offer some blowback because admittedly, Jonathan Allen, one of my guys, but I can't quite group Allen with Hargrave. I get it. Based on the contract, we've expected more from Allen, but I feel like he didn't fall off a cliff.
You're right.
Like Hargrave did after week 1. In fact, I feel like Allen has been trending for a bit in the right direction. I get it. I completely get it. We still want more. Based on what you're paying him, I understand that. But I just can't group. So maybe it's semantics, but I can't group Allen with Hargrave.
Yeah, I mean, so the pressure numbers are what you paid for, really. Like you pay, and by the way, Jalen Redmond stepping up. He's become, behind Jonathan Grenard, second on the team in pressures. Well, Jonathan Allen's third, and Javon Hargrave is fifth. And so you paid those guys to pressure and sack the quarterback. Maybe you overpaid because they're free agents that are, they have a pedigree and they just cost a certain amount of money if you want to bring them in here.
Well, there was a market. Like Jonathan Allen told me, Buffalo, Chicago, like there was a legit market for Allen. I suppose there was one for Hargrave too. I don't remember the particulars on Hargrave, but I can tell you, Jonathan Allen, there was a legit market. So yeah, I mean, you have to pay to get. When there's multiple bidders, they had to go pretty high.
As we're kind of sifting through the cracks of this win in Detroit and kind of looking up and down too, I want to get on the offensive side of the ball. I'd love to give a shout out to Blake Brandel or Blake Brandel, whatever your preference is.
I think we go Brandel. I think I've gotten finally some clarity on that front.
Confirmation.
Yeah, well,
so
maybe not quite confirmation, but I feel good when you say Brandel.
He did not allow a pressure in that game. I mean, he has started 4 games at center in his life now? And he did not allow a pressure in that game against the Lions, who are pretty good at pressuring opposing quarterbacks. So shout out to him. That is a crazy situation happening here where, like, those guys have never played center quarterback. We've had more center quarterback combos this year in the first half of the season. Ryan Kelly, JJ McCarthy. I think we had a Ryan Kelly, Carson Wentz in there. We had a Juergens. Do we have a Juergens Wentz? Maybe a Juergens. But we're on like our fifth different center quarterback.
It's like you got
combo.
law firms.
And it's not even, we're halfway through the season, for God's sake. So Blake Brandel figuring this out on the fly with a quarterback who's trying to figure this out on the fly and not allowing a pressure in that game against the Lions, according to PFF. Props.
Oh, absolutely props. Props to Donovan Jackson as well. From the eye test, it seemed like he had, regardless of the one penalty that I don't necessarily put on him, I thought Donovan Jackson had a really good game. Brian O'Neill, the return of Brian O'Neill. I thought O'Neill had a rock-solid game. Yeah, I mean, heck, I think Wes Phillips is on to something. That Blake's best position is center. You think about, I mean, outside of right tackle, he's played every position along the line in an NFL game. Forget college and whatever else background. Just professionally speaking, Brandel has played 4 of the 5 positions, but I think Wes Phillips might be right. I think center might be it. Now, hey, we have the news of Ryan Kelly ramping things up. We alluded to this a week or 2 ago, that it seemed to be trending this direction, even though just from a human standpoint, Ryan, with your concussion history, 2 concussions so close together, you're 32 years old. Think about the next 30 years, not the next 3 months, right? So a couple of us are on record in that regard. But, Judd, you brought it up, and I agreed. I said, hey, it's not trending that direction. It doesn't matter what I think. It's trending in the direction of him trying to push through this to get back onto the playing field. So he'll ramp things up. He's still in the protocol. I don't think he's playing, for example, Sunday against Baltimore, but it seems to be trending in the direction with Kelly still around in the locker room, visible, all that he may look to come back at some point this year.
Wow. I mean, I often don't care. Like, yeah, your knee's torn up. You're a football player. This one,
the brain.
This one concerns me a lot. Like
Akuda, whatever you think of Akuda, I'm worried about Akuda now too. Yeah,
right. But I mean, like, I would be good if Jeff just said, you know what, I'm probably done. Didn't go well. It's unfortunate, but like with Kelly, he's a player. I would like to have Ryan Kelly, the player, back. but the expense is not worth it. Like we know CTE, we know all the stuff. I just hope his family has a big say here. Aaron Jones. So he didn't return after he hurt. Now, KO at the podium said it was a toe and a shoulder. Aaron Jones told reporters it was an AC joint, but he also expressed confidence that he can go Carson Wentz and brace that thing up or put something on that. And KO was pretty optimistic, although he ordinarily is, on Monday. Aaron Jones's impact for the first portion of that game, Doogie, I thought was enormous. Like, because involved in the passing game, he looked fresh. I mean, his legs looked great. So I think getting Aaron Jones back for the Baltimore game and playing through some pain, in this case, I want him to play through pain. It's not his brain, and he makes a difference.
Yeah, so the update on Aaron Jones. I am scheduled to do a Zoom interview with him. He's doing a promotion with Hormel. I'm scheduled to speak with him at, what time is it right now? 9:25 a.m. Central. 3 p.m. Was supposed to connect with him at 11:30. So he is undergoing treatment this morning. My 11:30 interview has been pushed back to 3 p.m. He is undergoing treatment, yes, Judd, with all eyes on playing Sunday against Baltimore. Now, I'll ask him, like, does he need to get shot up? Like, is there some sort of cortisone, something that he needs there? Yeah, I mean, it's the shoulder. I mean, the treatment is on the shoulder. I know KOC brought up toe, but we're talking shoulder. But I'm telling you, like, the reason why he's not doing that interview with me at 11:30 is he is tied up. He will be getting treatment. And so, to me, it's trending in the direction of Aaron playing on Sunday against the Ravens.
Ask him about that, Ket.
Yeah, the fake handoff to Jordan Mason where you can use Jones and Mason together. I think there's even more of that to come. But yes, that play design.
Talk football to me.
Yeah, it was great, right? Football. And yeah, I'm not an X's and O's guy, you know that, but it seemed like there's more there. I think there's more there. Using Jones and Mason together and finding ways, maybe it's a pass to Mason, whatever it is. I'm just saying, yes. So to me, I think there's a pretty good chance, at least at this point here early in the week, that Jones isn't going to miss time.
I'd love to shout out, not really shout out, maybe pick on an elephant in the room here from that game too, and a couple other things from Doogie's bag. But let me grab this glorious. This is a guy we're not going to pick on. He caught a touchdown pass and was a pivotal part of that win against Detroit. These Pepsi Justin Jefferson souvenir cups that I hold in my hand, you can find in 3 locations: US Bank Stadium during Vikings games, Buffalo Wild Wings in the Twin Cities, where you can order 10 wings of any style and a Pepsi, and you get this cup, and Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh locations. You scan the QR code on the side, and you can enter to win Victor's Ride, a Polaris Ranger 1000. He'll drive that thing up wearing his Victor Zubas, and it'll be great if you win that thing. But even if you don't, you can still enjoy Pepsi and this Justin Jefferson souvenir cup. Pepsi, the official beverage of the Minnesota Vikings. Doogie, thanks to Awaken 180, you're down a few pounds these last couple months. Tell him.
I am. By the way, did Jefferson forget to do the gritty after his touchdown? It had been so long. Chicago week 1.
He didn't.
There was no gritty.
He said he was he said he was mean mugging, I believe, some fans, and so he didn't do it. I think you're right. I think you just forgot to do it.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, McCarthy made up for that. Yes, Phil. Correct. Today is Election Day. I continue to vote for Awaken 180 weight loss on my weight loss journey. I am down now over 20 pounds. Their plan absolutely works. I'm not hungry all the time because get this, I'm eating. Yes, a program you can eat on. No low-calorie restrictions, no medications, no suppressing hunger. I'm literally eating to lose weight with Awaken 180 weight loss, and I love it. The bonus is there's no guesswork. My coach lays out my plan. I follow said plan. There's no working out, just a proven plan built for me. Awaken 180 weight loss has a history of helping so many people lose weight. They've been doing it for over 10 years. The results speak for themselves. Come join me. If I can lose weight, I promise you can too. as importantly, or in my case, even more importantly, I feel energized. I feel great. There's all this Halloween candy, by the way, in the house, right? With a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. Candy galore. We didn't get as many trick-or-treaters on Friday as I expected. Well, I don't have that sweet tooth, thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The website is awaken180weightloss.com. Again, awaken180weightloss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Lose weight. The plan absolutely works. Their phone number, if you want to call instead, 1-844-346-1800. 1-844-346-1800. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Dallas Turner.
14
the
snaps.
14 snaps in a game. This is kind of how I painted it to the guys on Vent Line after the game. So he played 14 snaps out of a possible 64 on defense in a game in which the Vikings went into the lab, Brian Flores and company. They went into the lab and said, we are going to blitz all night. We are going to make them remember forever the night they played the Vikings. They blitzed Jared
Even
Goff.
Ivan Pace. Yeah, Ivan Pace was showing a pulse.
And yeah, he played about the same number of snaps, but he was like special teams a couple weeks ago. But I mean, what does it say that we're halfway through season 2 here and they're reducing Dallas Turner's role in a game in which rushing the passer and blitzing on 2 of every 3 dropbacks is going to be the game plan? It's, he only rushed the passer 5 snaps in that game. I don't know about that.
I mean, Judd, you told us a couple weeks ago you were taking some grief, some heat for going at Dallas Turner. I told you then it's okay to say that we expect more. It doesn't mean that the final chapter has been written, but based on the body of work so far, it's been underwhelming. Now, to me, it could still be week to week. Like, who's spying Lamar Jackson on Sunday? Certainly Cashman at times, but could it be Dallas Turner at times? So it could be game plan specific moving forward. That Dallas Turner eventually here pretty soon will play more than 14 defensive snaps. But yeah, when you're as aggressive as you were in that draft to move up to secure his services, yeah, it's safe to say, yeah, we expected more. I'm not going to use a word like bust or anything like that. That would be, to me, stupid. He's still really darn young. I really like him as a young man, and so I'm not going there. But yes, I'd like to think he'd be the first person to say, I expect more out of myself. I can play better. I need to earn the coach's trust more. I'd like to think that those words would come from his mouth. So yeah, underwhelming is the way I'd put it right now. I don't even want to go down the disappointment trail. I get it. We're arguing here, semantics, all that. So if you want to say disappointment, fine. But to me, underwhelming.
When they are healthy defensively, which they were on Sunday pretty much, he is not trustworthy, and that's the coaching staff. And that's the problem. He's in his second year. Like the first year, I felt like we glazed for him. We glazed him like Phil likes to.
I love that you're using that word.
We're like Dallas Turner. We're gonna glaze you because you're young. But I feel like a month ago when he had to play more, the defense was, well, he's playing just fine. Look he's being used. He's playing just fine. It's like, oh, okay, let's see what happens when everybody comes back and they're back. And he played it in a scheme, by the way, which he would have fit in. Like if he was playing well, he fits perfectly on Sunday. And in that game, he's not used. And so, yeah, I think what the Dallas Turner defenders are finding, and where it becomes very difficult to just continue to throw haymakers on his behalf, is the trust. And the snap count that you guys just talked about, it speaks to a lack of trust. And in year 2, I get concerned. In year 1, I'll glaze it. I'm okay with it. But in year 2, I need you to trust him, and you don't. And that's a problem for what you just said, Dukes, which is where he was drafted. 3rd round pick, I don't really care that much. 1st round pick that you traded up for and gave up quite a bit for, I care a lot.
Yeah. And so, it's not like I had on the bingo card preseason. Okay, early November, Fabian Moreau, 10, 11 more snaps than Dallas Turner. And so, yeah, I still don't think, though, like he's in like a so-called doghouse.
No.
Like there's an opportunity here. Heck, trust me, I'm sure there's some interesting conversations behind the scenes, right? The front office asking the coaching staff, okay, show us exactly why you're not using Dallas Turner more. We invested heavily. We believe in Dallas, the player. So explain to us. I mean, those are daily conversations. Those are healthy conversations. But I'm sure the front office is asking the coaching staff many questions about why isn't Dallas Turner being used more?
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely something to just continue to keep an eye on, because they did not move up to take him to be kind of a part-time bit player he's pretty good at setting the edge, and he's not terrible, but he can drop back into coverage a little bit, and once in a while he'll get a sack or a pressure. Like, he's not a train wreck. Well, you don't move up and draft a guy in the first round to describe him that way after 2 seasons. So the number one reason why you move up for an edge rusher in the first round is so he can tally 13 or 15 sacks at some point and a bunch of pressures. And he's not that guy right now. He's not that guy. It's a fair criticism.
And heck, I mean, you see across the league, right? I mean, Atlanta has a couple young pass rushers that seem to know what the heck they're doing, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. Now, if you go back to the Turner draft, remember, he started to fall, at least based on pre-draft expectations, started to fall a little bit. Well, maybe now we're seeing remnants of why teams maybe didn't have as high a grade as some of these draft pundits had on him. But I'm telling you, I'm not giving up on him. I refuse to. I'm not. But I get it. He has to show us a lot more. And I thought he had a pretty darn good training camp. That's the thing. Like, I go back to the three of us, bonding in Egan on a daily basis. From what I saw throughout August, I was highly encouraged. So that's where I'll use the word disappointment. Based on what I saw in August, I'm disappointed that it hasn't translated here to October and November.
Yep. All right, Dukes. Any final words of wisdom or nuggets for the road here?
No, I mean, trade deadline 3:00. I mean, I know some national folks, Jonathan Jones, others, have said, hey, maybe the potential of a quarterback. I mean, if they go that route, I mean, to me, Jameis Winston would be the name to keep an eye on. Would the Giants accept a 7? I mean, the Vikings have, 8 draft picks right now before the compensatory picks kick in, whatever that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But, what are you giving up? I mean, I guess you have 3 7s, right? So would they take a 7? Okay, Alante Taylor, New Orleans, pending free agent cornerback. New Orleans wants a day 2 pick. Well, the Vikings aren't doing that. Okay, well, I don't even think you're giving up a 5 for a pending free agent. Would you give up the 6 that you got for Mekhi Blackman? Okay, well, that's a low 6th from the Colts. And I don't even think that's the deal the Saints accept. And so, I mean, there's conversations happening, but it doesn't seem like anything is on the cusp of happening right before I hopped on with you guys 30 minutes ago at 9 a.m.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Emergency episodes as needed here.
Mm-hmm.
But Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5.
I mean, we know they're
Eyewitness
aggressive,
News
right?
Sports
We know
Department.
Kwesi and Gregson and those guys. They do their homework. There's no doubt about that. They have their finger on the pulse of enough stuff going on. But, they weren't in last week on Duggar, right? That was a popular name before he was jettisoned off to Pittsburgh from New England. That was a popular name. People said, hey, he'd be a good fit in the Flores defense. Well, the Vikings were never really seriously engaged in talks with the Patriots. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they roll with status quo.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you can give up a 7. You have these 3 7s. If you can give up a 7 to get somebody, fine. I don't think you need to give up anything above a 7.
Yeah. All right, Dukes. We'll catch you again later this week on Thursday. Have
Sounds good,
fun, you
boys. We'll
guys,
chat
at the
Thursday.
Target Field Twins press conference today. New manager, new life in the organization.
Chelsea.
Everything's turning around today. Day 1, day 0.
Day 0.
Cue it up.
Thanks, Peach.
All right, Darren Doogie Wolfson for the Sports Dad. I'm Phil. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.